Hi, awesome.
Nice to meet you. How's it going?
Qasim.
Yeah,
With awesome with the K.
Awesome with the K.
So thanks for helping with my project.
No problem, of course, of course.
And so, did you know that NASA is planning to send people to the moon?
I did not. I did
Okay.
not know.
And so, out of all the people that I've talked to, about 90% of them didn't know.
Yeah.
So obviously, there's something that NASA needs to do differently.
Terrible marketing.
Terrible marketing.
Yeah.
But how would you fix it? Like,
How would I fix a marketing aspect?
yeah, like
Social media?
social media. Because it's funny, I've heard that too. And like on my social media, NASA's like all over the place.
It's because, so the way it works, at least as far as social media, is there's algorithms that social media uses. So the more involved you are with the community, say if you're involved with the space community, you're going to get a lot of stuff that are filtered mostly through space, like space stuff or space styled or space versions of stuff like that through Twitter or social media or anything like that, based on the algorithm. So if you're looking at hashtags that have to do with space and things like that, you'll end up seeing a lot of things pop up more that are space oriented versus if you were looking at other things. So I would say for them to branch out into marketing other things. So for example, if Tesla does stuff with SpaceX, do ad campaigns and things like that that are kind of advertised a little bit towards Tesla, because then you'll get the people from SpaceX and things like that. So if they market it better to other things that are going on in the community or just like in general in the world or in society, then they'll eventually find people that are eventually clicking on it and realizing more, and that's how it kind of sparks.
Like maybe talking about how you could like look at urban growth and like the changes in valuation of real estate and that type of thing.
So that's actually, so I'm in real estate, and so one of the things that we do is when I create an ad campaign for social media and things like that, I find some of the relatable things to real estate. So I don't know if you know Pier 1 Imports.
I do.
Okay.
But
so a lot of people who are currently buying in real estate are looking at Pier 1 Imports.
Really?
Yeah. As well as Zillow and other things like that that are oriented with real estate or moving.
You're talking about like the furniture store.
Yeah, the furniture store. Yeah.
So people who are interested in
furniture and things like that tend to have a closer chance of buying real estate.
Now, are you talking about like any furniture store or just like
Pier 1
1
exclusively?
Really?
So Pier 1 exclusively has a connect time, or we can see a connect time with real estate.
But not
real
like
estate
rooms
market.
to go or gallery furniture or something like that?
No, Pier 1 exclusively, and then other, maybe like IKEA and then Home Depot and things like that.
Okay.
So what I'll basically use is when I create an ad campaign, I'll market towards those things and cross-reference that with real estate databases like Zillow and other things like that. So when people do searches for Zillow, but they also do searches for Pier 1, they're going to eventually see my advertisement one way or another.
Okay.
So that's why I said if they're doing, for example, if NASA did an ad campaign that was tweaked or targeted towards stuff like Tesla or SpaceX or futuristic things or stuff of that nature, or any kind of space things that are not necessarily 100% space but can branch off of space, and then cross-reference that with a space database and things like that, they'll get a closer reach of people and things like that, and then it'll eventually spread.
And are you talking about like on Twitter, the hashtags?
Yeah.
And I guess on Google, like
Google
keywords?
Or
Facebook.
for example, when Elon Musk launched one of their SpaceX programs and things like that, and you saw it light up in the sky, there was nothing but a bunch of photos and videos of, oh my god, I saw a UFO, or what's this in the sky
You're talking
right
about
now?
Starlink with like the 60 satellites, and you got like these.
Exactly. So Twitter went insane about it, and then you have someone who's like Elon Musk, who's he's a meme in himself.
Sure.
So being able to have him post on things like that, or him commenting and things like that, or doing like marketing things where he sends a Tesla to space. So stuff like that, it automatically connects Tesla with SpaceX.
Right.
So if the NASA was thinking about marketing towards or getting more people to know about it, they should take like a page out of that chapter, pretty much, and being able to market towards people that are cross-referenced with certain things. So I would be interested in seeing what searches come across or are linked with the search of NASA itself.
Now, did you watch the State of the Union address last night?
I did not.
Okay, I was gonna ask if you heard any space stuff on that, but I watched it. I was like into it. I was like, say something about space, say something about space. And there was a couple of snippets, but with all the other stuff that was going on, unless you're like were tuned into it, you probably would not have realized it.
Yeah.
But better than nothing, I suppose.
So tell me, like, what is the reason? Why are they currently trying to send people to space?
So several things. One is the moon in particular. We haven't been there since 1972. Mm-hmm. The moon, we've discovered since then that there's actually water ice on the poles.
They said something like that, but I didn't know that they officially found it. I thought they said that about Mars as well.
Oh, they did, but the moon's a little more surprising because like where the Apollo astronauts landed near the equator, on those regions, it goes between like 200 degrees Celsius to negative 200 degrees Celsius. So the idea that there would be water, and there's no atmosphere on the moon, and its gravity is 1/7 that of Earth.
Yeah, so how would it be able to pull? Interesting.
Exactly, but the answer to that is, the Earth has like a 23.5 degree tilt, and so like the pole that's facing the sun has like 6 months of daylight, and the pole that's away from the sun has 6 months of darkness.
Yeah.
There's really no place on Earth where there's permanently shadows. Like at some point throughout the year, every place on Earth gets touched by the sun. The moon, on the other hand, has a 1 degree tilt with relation to the sun, and it has like these big craters that are like 3 times deeper than Grand Canyon. And so what we think happened is that, as comets have impacted the moon over billions of years and wet asteroids, some of those molecules have made it into like these permanently shadowed areas.
Like water molecules and stuff like that?
Water molecules. And it's like 23 degrees Kelvin, which is like even colder than the surface of Pluto. Okay. So once something goes in there, it's pretty much stuck. Frozen. Now, the other side of it is how are they going to actually get it out if it's so cold? But so what's the big deal about water ice? Well,
it's proof that you can end up growing stuff and doing things like that, creating an ecosystem.
And plus some rockets use liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. And so with sunlight, you can use electrolysis, break the water apart into hydrogen, oxygen, and what have you. But it may not be just water ice. It could be carbon dioxide ice, like dry ice. In which case you can make methane, and some rockets use methane. And there might even be ammonia ice, and then you have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, which are like the 4 most massive parts of living organisms. So kind of neat. But also on top of that, meteors are constantly hitting the Earth, but we have a dense atmosphere, so a lot of them burn up. And then the ones that do hit the Earth, well, most of them end up in the ocean because the ocean is like 70% of the surface of the Earth type.